This segment is brought to you by Express Employment, your locally owned and operated staffing company, respecting people, impacting business.
Today we have Emily Spencer from the Strater Hotel. She's going to be the featured speaker at the next Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn. It's happening on June 24th. And today we were talking about a very interesting topic, business etiquette. So thank you for coming.
My absolute pleasure. You know, this is really not about what fork you use. As Emily Post said, if you have great awareness of others, it really doesn't matter what fork you use. And that's what this presentation is about.
And so I think, you know, business etiquette really carries over whether you're in the office or you're taking a client out to lunch, or, you know, it's all about relationships and building and maintaining those. So you kind of help with little tips and ways you can make it a bit easier, it sounds like.
Well, I hope so. And the goal is, yes, that if you're doing business with someone, that they absolutely make you feel comfortable. And so really the tip is when you're using your cell phone or when you're dining with someone, kind of the do's and don'ts of that.
Yes.
Conversation too.
Well, and I think conversation is a big one, you know, especially when you're meeting a new client and you're kind of trying to understand how they like to communicate. You sometimes have to adapt your own styles.
Absolutely. And, you know, everyone has a different style. You know, there is definitely that person who interrupts you frequently. And, you know, it is okay to, when they take a breath after interrupting you, return to your point and say, let me finish what I was saying. Not being rude in it, but again, kind of dealing with a conversational style. Likewise, if someone never stops talking, like we all deal with those folks.
Yep.
You know, unfortunately, there's no polite way to change that person's behavior. You just kind of have to deal with it and hope that their spouse or friend will somehow tell them.
Well, someday put the kibosh on that.
Right, exactly.
So, and there are so many, you know, different styles when you're just meeting someone that always has to have the last word, someone that's a one-upper. So are these kind of the personality traits that you'll be talking about?
Well, and again, if it's a client, how do you deal with that without offending them if you want to do business with them? So, yes, you know, when dealing with the name dropper or the one-upper, it's clearly a cry for attention. And, you know, honestly, often those folks really don't even care if you're in the room, right?
Yeah,
when you're
there.
dealing with them.
Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do and the most polite thing that you can do is absolutely not acknowledge it. So if they just said they met Mick Jagger and they have a big long story about it, you say, okay, great, are we ready to order lunch?
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds great.
Right.
And so speaking, you know, you're out at a restaurant and, you know, there are obviously different etiquettes for whether you're in a boardroom and for whether you're having a meeting at a bar.
Yes.
What about, you know, drinking during these meetings? You know, we laugh about the 3 martini lunch if you're out on a sales call. Is that a thing of the past? Is that still, you know, smiled upon, frowned upon?
You know, generally I think it is. You know, I think if you're accustomed to drinking alcohol, particularly at this altitude, I think 1 is perfectly fine. I think it actually really depends on the kind of business that you're doing and the kind of meeting that it is. If it's someone that you know really well and you also know that they're accustomed to drinking, then I think 1 drink is fine. But too often after 2 or even 3 drinks, the things that you might or might not say, particularly in a business situation, you might regret the next day.
Yeah, maybe hedge your bets and go for the iced tea option, I would think.
Exactly.
So for the lunch and learn that you're going to be doing, I know sometimes people register in advance. Where's a good place for them to go to get more information about the event?
The Durango Chamber of Commerce website, I believe it's durangochamber.org. They can register there. It's June 24th.
And where is it going to take place?
It's at the First National Bank of Durango, and I think lunch is by 3 Peaks Deli.
Oh, nice. So lunch, you learn. I mean, that's a good deal. And I've been to these events before, and they are very informational, and you always walk away figuring out something that you didn't think you were going to learn that day.
I promise I won't criticize what fork people use.
Obviously, so you don't have to worry. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
joining us. After the break, girls, art, and leadership.
This segment is brought to you by Express Employment, your locally owned and operated staffing company, respecting people, impacting business.